Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeanette, and in today's video I wanted to show you these awesome vegan crab cakes that I came up with this past weekend. I was making various foods for the birthday party that we had for my dad and I, and this just kind of materialized. I was sauteing some things in a pan. I looked over, I had a can of jackfruit on the counter. I thought, I wonder if this would work. And these things turned out just incredible. They're incredible. So I wanted to show you how I make them. Now I have to tell you that my dad and I used to be quite the seafood connoisseurs back in the day. I pretty much grew up on seafood, and the types of foods that we ate were fish, but we also ate steamed clams, we would eat steamed crab legs, we had lobster tails, and shrimp. And these are the things that we had all the time. And in fact, every year at New Year's, we would have a seafood fest and we would have all of these things. And my dad would make crab cakes. So we're very well versed in how to make crab cakes, and we've of course eaten them out at restaurants in the past. So we're very particular when it comes to our seafood. And when I served these at our birthday lunch, my dad said that these are better than the real thing, so that's saying something. All right, so we're gonna get into it. I will tell you, it is a little bit of a labor-intensive process. I haven't really figured out how to streamline it yet because this is only the second time that I've made them, but it's worth every bit of effort. They look freaky real, and like my dad said, they taste even better than the real thing. I did want to mention one thing before I forget, that my Dad's and My Cookbook is ready for publication, and the release date is August 6th. It will be available for pre-sale on sellers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other booksellers that do a pre-sale, but it looks fantastic. They did an amazing job on it. If I can insert a picture of the cover in here, I will do that. But I'm gonna put this on my Instagram and my Facebook and just kind of keep people up to date. Maybe I'll do a community post here on YouTube, but it looks fantastic. So I hope you guys are able to check it out. But let's get into how I do these. I need leeks for this recipe, and I wanted to show you how I clean and trim these. I only use the white and light green parts of the leek. And as you can see, inside there are all of these concentric circles, and a lot of grit and sand can get trapped in there, so it's important that you clean a leek really well. So I like to slice it lengthwise and then cut across in just these little pieces so I can separate everything with my fingers. Then I put everything into a colander set inside of a bowl, fill the bowl with water, swish it around really good with my hands, and I just keep doing this until the water runs clear. I also need breadcrumbs for this recipe, so I'm just going to make my own, and I'm going to toast them as well. So I just take a few slices of whole grain bread and break them off into little pieces, put them into my food processor. Then I hit the pulse button a few times just to grind them up. Then I can put the breadcrumbs into a skillet over medium heat and just keep stirring until they get nice and toasty. Into a skillet, I put my diced onion, diced leeks, some diced red bell pepper, and diced celery, and I just use a little splash of water as needed to prevent sticking, and I saute all of this over medium heat until all the veggies are nice and soft. Let's go over the other ingredients we need for this recipe. One is young green jackfruit in either brine or water, and it's important that you get this kind of jackfruit because they also sell a sweetened version in syrup. You don't want that kind. You want this one here in water or brine because it will pick up the flavors of whatever you cook it with. I need a little vegan Worcestershire sauce to give it a nice savory note, deepen the flavors, a little Dijon mustard, and I use my cashew vegan ranch to help bind everything together, but you could use your favorite vegan mayonnaise as well. The juice from half of a lemon, and I also help bind everything together with a 1/4 cup of homemade hummus, but you could also use store-bought. I use a little dried parsley, but you could also chop up fresh parsley and use that instead, and Old Bay seasoning will help give it that nice seafood flavor. The other thing that helps give it seafood flavor is nori seaweed. Now these are these little seaweed snacks that I can buy in little containers. And you can use these, or you can also just take maybe half of a sheet or a full sheet if you like the taste of it of the sushi nori. The canned jackfruit I get is cut into wedges like this, as you can see. And when you look at a piece of this, you'll see seeds, and the coverings around the seeds are what I call the seed pods. Now, when I was looking this stuff up on the internet, I was seeing people cooking their jackfruit seeds. I don't know if you can just eat jackfruit seeds out of the can. I've heard some people do that. I do know that the seeds and the little coverings on them are edible. Again, I just don't know if you have to cook the actual seeds or not. But they weren't the texture that I'm looking for in this dish. So I removed the seeds and the little pod coverings that are embedded in these wedges. And then at the small end of the wedge, this is like a harder core area. And as the wedge gets bigger, at that end, you can pull it apart and it starts to shred. And that's really what I was looking for in this recipe, to mimic the look of crab meat. Once all of my veggies are softened in my saute pan, that's when I add the rest of my ingredients, and I want to heat everything through so that I get all of those beautiful flavors to mix together. I use my cashew vegan ranch, the hummus, and the breadcrumbs as binders for my crab cakes. And when it comes to the nori sushi pieces, I just take these in my hands and crumble them up. Crab cakes are usually served with some sort of mayonnaise-y sauce on the side. So I'm going to make my vegan remoulade. And I'm starting with a base of my homemade hummus, and I'm adding a little bit of my cashew vegan ranch to make it creamy. I'm adding hot sauce to taste, as well as a little garlic powder, a little bit of sweet paprika, the juice from half of a lemon, onion powder, a little smoked paprika, and I made my own Creole seasoning. I just looked up online what spices to throw together for this, but you can really use anything that you want in your sauce. And I also add a tiny dash of vegan Worcestershire. The finishing touch on top would be the sweet dill pickle relish, and then I give everything a stir and adjust seasonings to taste. All right, once my cooked crab meat mixture has cooled to the touch, I just start forming patties, and you can make these into any size that you like. My non-stick pan still tends to stick a little, so my trick around that is either I use a little spritz of avocado oil or a little tiny bit of olive oil in the pan, and then I use a little paper towel, as you can see, to wipe it around, just to make a non-stick surface. Then I place my little crab cakes into the pan, and I heat over medium heat for a few minutes on each side until everything is nice and browned like this. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you guys give it a try. And if you don't like crab cakes, don't worry. These aren't really like crab cakey tasting because there's no crab meat in them. But they just have a really nice flavor to them. So give them a shot. See if you like them. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week.